Hello! Welcome to the Panic Button. I'm Jesse.
I'm Nina.
And today we watch Jubilee.
60 Republicans versus Democrats.
I know you just said it's a government thing. Personally, however, I feel that transgenderism is more of a personal issue and a philosophical debate more than a political debate, because I just don't think being transgender really has anything to do with politics. When you turn 18, I'm really against children getting gender affirming care type shit. So I think once you turn 18 and you're a legal adult, you can go to the military and everything, drink. I think once you become a legal adult, you should be able to make those decisions for yourself and do whatever you need to do. Live your life however you want. However, I do feel like it's being pushed onto people these days, especially my generation. It's just a fact. There's a lot of people in Gen Z who are transgender. I mean, when I was a little boy, I played with Barbie dolls.
He made a great point when he started off saying that it's a personal feeling. There's a big reason. There's a separation between church and state. And if they're not paying you, if the government's not paying for the circumcisions, then we shouldn't pay for the transitions.
Also, I don't think we should have to pay for the transitions because right now, as it stands, it's self-ID when it comes to being trans. It's not a medical issue anymore. So if it's not a medical issue, then it's just a cosmetic surgery, in which case I don't think taxpayers should be paying for cosmetic surgeries.
No, not at all.
And shit, but I imagine, what if I told my parents, I think I'm a girl, and they wanted to take me to a doctor, give me hormones. I love being a guy. And it's something that children experience at a young age, but I think as they get older, they mature, they grow into their own. I don't think that's the experience for everyone, you being an example. But I think the government should not be allowing kids to run away from their homes, tell their teacher to call them a different name, refer to them as a different gender, and not even let the parents know about it. I don't have any hate in my heart. I think I get along with all kinds of people, and I respect people's opinions, and all I ask is I get the same grace back.
Absolutely, I have no problem with that. First of all, no disrespect, I don't entertain the mental illness conversation because it's too low vibrational for me, so I want to talk about kids, okay? So when we talk about...
It's too low vibrational?
Not intelligent of a response is what I think Blossom is trying to say.
Oh, I forgot Blossom's those spiritual, I don't know, Wiccan tarot card astrology, numerology thing.
Coach Blossom.
Coach Blossom.
So when we talk about trans kids...
Oh my God, did you see what they did? Did you hear what they did?
Snapping?
They literally snapped. Oh my God, they snapped. Yes, because clapping is aggressive.
Kids, let's be very clear, kids are not having surgeries. You have to be...
Oh, here we go again. It's not happening argument.
And the thing is that's not
God.
even working for the liberals anymore, because I've talked to many a liberal in my personal work life, and we've had conversations about this because it's come up. And yes, minors are having the surgeries. There are 14-year-olds having to move state lines to get gender care, which is crazy. There are 14-year-olds getting double mastectomies, and they're having their hormones changed and altering their physical attributes for life.
Let me just,
For life.
it was not pointing towards your
Are we still
face.
recording?
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that they are indeed pushing this. If you feel like you are gender nonconforming, and let's say that you're a confused woman who feels like you're gender nonconforming, so you call yourself non-binary because you're confused. And you don't want to be looked at like a woman, so that's what you go with because that's how the world's working these days, right? So now your doctors are going to push medical transition on you because they want the money, and they will literally tell you that it's more important than your other problems. Your other problems came from this. I know from people who are telling me firsthand.
Trans people.
Last week, not even. And it's sad. It's disappointing. And the fact that you don't want to talk about the fact that there's underlying mental illness. I'm not trying to I hope the person who told me this isn't watching. I'm not saying names, but this person literally told me I'd rather focus on my PTSD than a transition.
And the doctors are pushing
And the doctors are continuing to push transition. And that's sad, because you know that this is probably coming from a mental place, right? Right, because it's something wrong with your brain and your body. So then, therefore, it's from your brain, which is mental. That's where the mental health issue comes into play. It's not supposed to be degrading. I've said many times, I'm not saying gay's mental health issue, but there's something disconnecting your mind and your body's proper function. Technical proper function, the way it's meant to be in nature.
And I disagree with that, but that's also fine.
I don't think it's wrong. I'm just saying, like, we're wired different.
Yeah, and I can acknowledge that you have a different opinion.
It's a mental difference.
Disagree.
It's a mental difference,
No,
not
we're
a
not going to get on this
disability.
topic right now. We're not going to get on this topic. Okay. Is there anything you wanted to add before I press play?
Blossom disregarding all of this is actually a deficit to the trans community and everything they're pushing for, because maybe there are some kids that need to have some gender reaffirming clothing or something, and you're going to make it hard for them to even be able to do that.
It's not happening isn't an argument, and it's not helping your side, because everyone knows that it is happening. Aside from the very far left progressives, especially people
Who
on,
don't leave
on
their
social
house.
media,
Yeah.
they're very much like, this isn't happening. But eventually we have to come to the conclusion that it is, because being in denial is not helping anybody. It's
Not
actually doing more
even.
harm.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to be a particular age. Respectfully, you have to be a particular age.
It says, a study by Harvard researchers found the rate of gender-affirming surgeries for those with a transgender and gender diverse. So basically, a Harvard researcher found that transgender and gender diverse diagnoses was 2.1 per 100,000 minors aged 15 to 17, for 0.1 out of 100,000 for 13 to 14, and 0 procedures among the kids 12 or younger, which means that if they are 13 to 17,
They're minors.
It is happening. It may be lower numbers than you think matter, but it's still happening, which means you can't say it's not happening.
Right? And the fact that because there's not that many means it doesn't matter is
How
that's
bigoted.
That's
how
disgusting.
against a diverse group.
Very.
How transphobic of you.
Well, Blossom hasn't changed in the past, 2 or 3 years,
No.
so I'm not really surprised.
I wonder if Blossom...
There is a process. There is a mental process. You have to have a mental evaluation. There is a physical evaluation. There is a process there that, ironically, Republicans tend to forget. Let's be very clear. And those decisions should not be on the government's door. It should be in that person's personal home. The parents, the child.
In which case, taxpayers
Shouldn't
do
have to
not
pay for it. Yeah.
have to pay for it.
Yeah, because if it's
You
a
pay
personal
for it.
thing, right? Do you pay for our weddings? Because that's a religious thing. Do you pay for that, the taxpayer? Do you? No, you don't. Someone pays out of pocket for that because it's a religious belief. After so many years, what do they call it? A domestic partnership or something?
Yeah.
After 10 years or whatever, depending on the state you're in, you have a domestic union or something like that. It's a technical marriage, but they don't pay for it. They don't pay to get you the license to get you married.
Child and their doctor should be making those decisions. Who are you to sit up there and put your business in their business, worrying about what?
Oh God! I'm trying not to I'm really trying not to get heated, but that's snapping.
Why does the snapping heat you though?
Because it's gross. Because it's like I don't want to offend anyone with my aggressive clapping, so I'm gonna snap. Because damn, you are making so much sense. It's just, I feel like I'm back in middle school when I'm listening to these people.
Just ignore it.
I can't. It's there for a reason.
Do better.
To annoy me.
Their body, what they're supposed to do with their body. They should have the right to their own autonomy. I am a firm believer that Republicans have a basic level understanding of what trans people are in the first place. I am a firm believer that trans conservatives are an oxymoron.
What? Go ahead.
Hang on. No, you say what you gotta say. I gotta look something up real quick.
Trans conservatives is an oxymoron.
Go ahead.
Gay Christians. Do you know how many gay Christians there are? Who do you think pushed for gay marriage? The people who wanted to get married because they were more conservative in their values. The liberal gays want polyamory. They don't want to get married. So
I'm trying to find out.
just because you are something doesn't mean your beliefs are going to be different. You're pretty much telling trans conservatives out there that your existence is bullshit. And that's absolutely abhorrent.
Where exactly do they not have a right to their own autonomy? I looked it up just because I wanted to make sure. And there's two definitions. It's the right to the right or condition of self-governing or freedom from external control, influences, independence. We're not saying you can't transition. So you do have autonomy. You can literally go to a doctor, have them flip your hoo-ha inside out, left, right, and center, and say that you're a man, woman, otherwise. Where's your lack of autonomy? Because we say that we shouldn't push that on children who don't know what they're going to want in 5 to 10 to 20 years. Where's your lack of autonomy?
I don't know.
A lack of control of your anatomy, yes, because we all have that. It's infuriating. You're not using the word properly, and you're using it in a negative way. It's not like anyone's putting you in camps and telling you can't transition. Look at where you're at, Blossom.
Well,
if you lacked autonomy, where would your wig have come from?
The prompt is, what should the government's stance be on trans issues?
I haven't heard anything from that one.
I think the government shouldn't have well, that's tough because trans is being pushed into everything, so much so that it needs to be.
I don't think the government should. Sorry.
Okay. Well, if in schools, right? In schools, the trans issue is a thing and gender ideology is a thing. Do you think it's the right of the government to get involved and be like, no, this is messed up? Or do you think we should just leave people to their own devices to figure it out and
it
rectify
belongs in the healthcare system, not the government.
Well, the government is part of the healthcare system as well. Like the government oversees the healthcare system, just like the education system. Bless you.
The government only has so much to do with the healthcare system. They
Yeah.
tell them what they can and can't do. I think we should treat transition the way we treat alcohol and gambling and drinking. Alcohol, drinking, gambling, drugs. I think it should all be controlled the same way. You hit an age, like this Jaylen just said. You hit an age, you're allowed to have your autonomy, but under 18, you don't.
I agree.
You don't, because you don't know what you're doing with it. You don't know how to handle it. You don't know what you're going to want 5-10 years from now. So no, you shouldn't be giving minors that. And I don't think it belongs in the government. I think it belongs in healthcare. The government restriction should be 18 years old is when you can start. And anything under that is illegal and malpractice. Maybe 17. I'm a little liberal on it. After puberty's really struck, like, your hormones start finally fluctuating, that's the only part government should have in it, is giving it a timeline of when to happen.
You know, that, and I'm just going to be quite honest with you. And the reason why I believe that is because Trump is not going to be here to save trans people. That Botox, that lip filler, that cosmetic surgery that a lot of trans conservatives get, Trump wants to take that away. Trump wants to dismiss trans people.
There is no evidence that Trump plans to ban Botox or filler, and he hasn't made statements about eliminating transgender individuals. He has, however, said that he would roll back Biden's expansion of Title IX protections for transgender individuals, which eradicates the rights of women. So I am totally for the rollback of Title IX because they fucked it up for women by changing it to gender identity, which is just a bullshit statement that you make about yourself.
Yes.
That's not protecting any women. So, yeah, I'm totally for that. And Blossom, come on, bro. You need to understand that they do fact checks on Jubilee now, and all your bullshit that you're touting is going to be corrected, and you're going to look like a fool like you do now.
And had before.
Exactly. Except now, the correction underneath.
Yeah.
Well, Trump wants to exterminate trans people, and the government should be pushing.
Hold on. We're going to camps?
Isn't this better to hear with that little fact check underneath, though? Like,
Yeah.
you're like, okay, so dismiss everything being said. It's like when...
We're going to camps.
It's like when you're, like, on jury duty and they're like, dismiss that. None of that's true.
Yep. Overruled.
Yep.
Or was it sustained? I can't remember. Anyway, he's not putting us into camps. He's not getting the
Trump literally
S on our
hosted a
butts.
gay wedding. He doesn't care if you're gay. He literally doesn't care if you're gay. He just doesn't want men beating women in sports because they're born with a privilege.
Or taking away women's body autonomy by allowing men to be naked and to look at naked women in their locker rooms, which happens more often than Blossom would like to think.
For trans rights, we deserve access to care as trans and non-binary people. The trans...
not taking away your care. It's not like we said, "Oh, are you trans and have cancer?"
Hold
Bye.
His identity is expansive. I think non-binary people can also be trans.
Then what are you? Are you non-binary or trans? That's like saying a lesbian can be bisexual. You are or you aren't. Non-binary is not trans. That's androgyny. And androgyny is clothes, pretty much. A little bit of facial features, a little bit about the way you walk, but pretty much clothes. Especially non-binary, it's pretty much all clothes and a short haircut.
I was gonna say hair.
Or they grow their hair out long. But most guys, they don't call themselves non-binary. They just go right for trans. So
Yeah.
either way, non-binary is not trans. And by saying that, you're actually eradicating your existence. So I don't know what you're doing here, but it's funny.
Can also be intersectional. Trans people can be gay. Trans people can be straight. Trans people can identify as non-binary. And so let's just be clear that the trans experience is very expansive, and we have to be mutable to that expansiveness.
Okay.
No one is saying only so and so and so people are trans. What we're saying is that we don't want children to transition.
Go ahead. Keep going.
That's it. That's all I have to say. That's all we're saying. So I don't know what this whole we're not going to get care. Care is expensive. Yeah, care is expensive. If you want to look a certain way, you gotta fucking pay for it or work really hard at it. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. Get better health insurance. That's what we all have to do. If not, life is expensive.
And we don't have to be mutable to any change if we don't want to. So stop with your maleness. We have to do this. No, we don't. We don't have to do anything. That's your issue. You boss people around on your side. That's great. Don't come over on our side and try bossing us around because it's not going to work.
Well, that's all Blossom wants.
We'll bring it into a philosophical level to prove a political point.
I'm very philosophical. Let's
Okay,
go.
cool. So I want to explain why I think it's a mental illness real quick.
I'm this. I'm that. I'm intellectual. That frequency is not high enough for me. You know, very
Suck up.
very like a man. Yeah, very like a man. That personality type
The
does
gloating.
not scream woman at all.
I know you said you don't want to get into that, but I'm here to talk my shit, so that's what I'm going to do.
Talk your shit, honey.
I think it's a mental illness. I actually heard it from Vivek Ramaswamy first, and when he first said it, I was like, this is a really harsh way of putting it. I don't know how I feel about that. But the more I thought about it, I was like, well, I think if you're willing to go so far to sterilize yourself, mutilate your body, chop off your and turn your vagina inside out, chop off your like, that's stemming from self-hatred, not self-love. If you love yourself, you're not going to do that. And I think there's a stigma around it. The way you're kind of getting reactive, I see your body language. I feel like
disagree
it's
with that
upsetting you, but
because-
I don't think it should upset you.
I'm not upset by it. I believe that it's actually empowerment to have those surgeries as a person that I want to be. Because if I have gender dysphoria, let me align my...
These children over here on the blue side have never been punched a day in their life, I swear to God. Yeah, we gotta help our black trans women over here. Come on, guys, let's snap for Blossom. You're proving Blossom needs help.
body with how I feel because I love myself enough to have the surgery. So let's be very clear. That's just your opinion because respectfully, are you a trans?
And I love myself enough to wish that I was a skinny, 6 foot tall lesbian with long blonde hair. But you know what I am? I'm 5'1", fat, and I love and there's nothing I can do about it. I can go have surgeries all I want, but that's not something I'm entitled to.
Trans person?
I'm not.
So you're taking up a space where I believe a trans woman should be here talking to me, to be quite honest.
Okay, Blossom just proved that he lost. And how did I know this? Because he's like, well, you're taking up space from a trans person who should be up here debating me. Please. If Blair White was up there, you'd still have a problem.
If Blair White was up there,
You're just proving you're losing your argument by moving this guy aside as if his opinion doesn't matter because he's not trans.
I thought he's in
Well,
your
he's
acronym.
a man.
He's a gay man. He's in the LGBTQ. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, questioning, queer, quesadillas. That's what you got.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Because I feel like we as trans women need to be having the...
Hold on. You want us to hold you up. You want us to hold you up. They're so great. Trans people. Ooh, they're amazing. But I don't think you should be having this motherfucking conversation because you're not in my group. You're not in my community. Go ahead and show us just how isolationist you are.
You know what? Why Blossom doesn't want this guy here? Because Blossom wants to talk to someone who believes everything he has to say.
Or at least
All the bullshit. Just
Yes.
wants someone to agree with them because he's not used to people bringing the facts. And that makes Blossom very uncomfortable. And that's why the cheerleaders back there are snapping. Losing. Everybody, we need to snap faster.
These conversations with each other. Although she could be a trans conservative and I could be a trans liberal, that's how we move the needle together to get understanding. And respectfully, you're taking up a space that should belong to a trans woman and trans.
So
You
go
lost.
ahead. LGB without the T.
Yeah. Sayonara. Leave.
What did Blossom just say? LGB without the T. Like
Yep.
literally to this dude.
Yep.
But you
Instead,
get
we have
so mad at us.
We're not going to move the needle with you, Blossom, okay?
Because Blossom doesn't want to move a fucking
Can't
needle.
move the fucking needle with Blossom because Blossom will just make another excuse for why he can't have a conversation. Because Blossom believes what Blossom believes in his own head.
Woman erasure is very real because you're participating in it right now.
Okay, so LGB without the T it is. Yeah,
What?
you can't have it both ways, people.
Well, Blossom,
One way or the other.
when did you decide that you hated gay men?
Very homophobic. And us lesbians are incredibly offended by you.
I got so scared because they were screaming.
No, they were clapping and cheering. It
reminded me of me getting
just
yelled
shows
at.
you how, like, actually mentally retarded a lot of people on the left are. Because they're literally cheering for a very, very bad
Backwards perspective.
point. It wasn't even a point. It was just like, I'm not going to win, so I'm going to make some bullshit excuse.
They were rooting for someone dismissing someone of diversity.
In their argument.
A gay black man.
Yeah, he said, I want to have my time to speak, pretty much. And Blossom is saying, no, you're not good enough. And the tards on the left are like, yeah, that was amazing. And it's like, you guys are just showing that you're assholes.
Oh,
That's all
yes.
you're showing.
I'm not trying to attack you
I'm
in
not
any type
either.
of way. I don't want you to feel attacked.
Not either. Same.
You know, I think it does get to a point, like I know I said kids, but I think it really is just a topic that people should be open to speaking about and conversating about. That it's just kind of low-key going against the laws of nature. I ain't even gonna cap. Like, I'm not religious.
Okay.
Like, I'm
What are
with
the
the
laws
party,
of
but,
nature
like,
and who created them? Who created that?
I'm more of a
blueprint?
free spirit.
I'm sorry, this has nothing to do with the prompt. Are you trying to do a gotcha moment thing because you found out that he might be a little, I don't know,
Somewhat religious, if that.
yeah, in which case you know you can get a gotcha moment and then you'll look like you won, but really everyone knows that you lost.
His religion is just the same as your religion.
Yeah.
Just
Doesn't
different
make
gods.
any sense.
Different gods. And he's not even saying that. He's saying it's against the rules of nature, which is what we were trying not to talk about earlier.
Yep.
Which is that I believe, and he probably believes it too, as a homosexual, you're wired differently. It doesn't mean you're wrong, but you're not following the biological path that was supposed to be followed by a female and male in your species. And having someone flip your dick inside out is definitely not along the lines of nature. It's not natural. You don't find birds doing that. I'm sorry if you think fish are magical because their fucking hoo-has become penises, but they're fish. You're not a fucking fish.
Anyway, like and subscribe to our channel and join our memberships and all that stuff. Comment below. Have a good
fish.
one. Part 2 coming tomorrow.
A fish.